Drug Enforcement Administration announced a massive drug bust connected to a major Mexican cartel. 19 people have been charged, including Washingtonians and foreign nationals.
Fox 14 News reporter Nia Wong.
Some of these shipments were so large they were brought here in semi-trucks.
Seattle never sleeps, but that night the silence was wrong. Sirens cut through the mist, helicopters painted the skyline red and blue, and armored vehicles rolled through rain like steel beasts. ICE, DEA, FBI launched one of the largest joint operations ever staged in the Pacific Northwest. Their target was a cartel network that turned Seattle's ports into a global supply artery for drugs, weapons, and human trafficking. The network used legitimate shipping firms, encrypted communications, and crypto laundering to hide billions in illegal revenue. The result was a historic takedown that stunned agents on both sides of the border. Homeland Security first flagged the anomaly months earlier. Container manifests from Guadalajara, Taipei, and Medellin showed identical digital tags, duplicate weight entries, and repeated routing timestamps. Analysts traced the pattern to shell import companies registered in Washington and Oregon. By March 2025, investigators believe three groups had merged efforts: Sinaloa, CJ&G, and a Taiwanese syndicate. The DEA's 2025 threat brief ranked Pacific ports among the top 5 U.S. entry points for synthetic opioids. King County reported over 420 fentanyl-related deaths in 2024, a figure that pushed federal partners to act. Cartels had shifted from rural smuggling to corporate-style logistics. They used ports, warehouses, and freight lanes to move bulk shipments with surgical timing. At 4:32 a.m., 12 coordinated raids hit Seattle, Tacoma, and Everett. Breaching charges shattered warehouse doors. ICE Homeland Security investigations led tactical entry, while DEA and FBI executed federal warrants. More than 200 agents flooded 14 cartel-linked sites. The element of surprise was total. One South Seattle warehouse looked like a normal distribution hub: pallets, scanners, forklifts, and staff with badges. Beneath the packaging, 4.6 tons of narcotics were found. The load included 2.3 tons of cocaine, 1.2 tons of methamphetamine, and 390 kilograms of fentanyl. DEA lab tests later confirmed that fentanyl total could cause nearly 190 million lethal doses. Investigators also seized $42 million in cash, $9.4 million in cryptocurrency, and 117 illegal firearms. Among the weapons were 3 heavy-caliber rifles traced to suppliers in Sonora, Mexico. Ballistics matched 4 rifles to cartel shootings in Baja California earlier that year. Inside a command room, agents found a digital nerve center. Dozens of monitors tracked global shipment IDs, live port feeds, and encrypted chat logs. AI-driven route simulators predicted inspection windows and weather shifts. Satellite-linked comms moved orders across continents. It was a crime running like a logistics firm. A DEA field report showed the group had a footprint in 17 countries. Since 2022, the network has processed more than $200 million in crypto payments through layered exchanges and digital assets. The FBI Cyber Division warned that criminal groups now use NFTs, gaming tokens, and stablecoins to mask illicit flows. 78 suspects were arrested in coordinated actions. 41 were U.S. citizens. 37 were foreign nationals tied to Mexico.
But judging by the skyrocketing number of asylum claims coming from Mexican nationals entering our country, that doesn't seem to be a priority for the liberals. These claims have almost quadrupled since December of 2016.
Guatemala and Taiwan. Among the detainees were port contractors, freight clerks, IT specialists, and a Taiwanese logistics engineer accused of maintaining encrypted routing software. One Mexican coordinator linked shipments to distribution hubs in Los Angeles and Chicago.
Good morning. I'm Patrick J. Leckleitner, Acting Director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And I'm joined here today by Dan Bible, the Executive Associate Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations.
ICE Acting Director Patrick Leckleitner called the operation the most integrated smuggling model ever dismantled in Washington state. Agents traced $128 million in fake trade transactions through banks in Belize, Panama, and Hong Kong. Those transfers matched invoices and shell companies used to launder proceeds. The Department of Justice confirmed the Seattle cell acted as a northern hub for a tri-continent trade. Ships delivered precursor chemicals and bulk narcotics. Asian suppliers sent synthetic inputs, while Latin American cartels supplied coca and meth. UNODC reporting shows global flows rising, with thousands of tons moved each year, and a growing share funneled through maritime routes. Investigators found evidence of human smuggling. Hidden compartments contained documents and ledgers linked to missing migrants. ICE identified 23 Central American nationals possibly trafficked through the network.
ICE was also unable to account for more than 32,000 unaccompanied kids who failed to appear in court from 2019 to 2023, according to the report we read.
DHS counter-trafficking analysts note cartels increasingly combine people smuggling with narcotics and arms trade to maximize profit. One warehouse had reinforced tunnels and underground rooms. Each chamber had ventilation, power, bunks, and routers. The site could sustain workers for weeks. It was a subterranean hub built for crime. They built a living system, an FBI tech said. They treated logistics like survival. Federal prosecutors filed 96 indictments covering drug trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and money laundering. Legal officials said the case may become one of the largest organized crime prosecutions in state history.
Peddles this poison for one reason: to make money. In this case, we hit them where it hurt.
The seized narcotics carry a street value near $720 million, according to DEA valuation methods. For the first time, agencies confirmed the raid was part of Operation Northern Strike, a multi-state initiative spanning 9 U.S. states and 2 foreign partners. Since January 2024, that program has produced nearly 2,800 arrests and roughly $1.9 billion in asset seizures, according to Justice Department summaries. Agents say Seattle served as the digital logistics brain for the West Coast. Links ran to gangs in Los Angeles, distributors in Chicago, and buyers in Vancouver. Customs data shows a 42% increase in Pacific Port drug seizures since 2021, a shift officials attribute to improved land border controls that pushed cartels to maritime channels. What surprised investigators most was the tech. Forensic teams found AI-coded tools that modeled Coast Guard patrol patterns and inspection schedules. Software flagged low-risk windows down to the hour. ICE cyber agents said the cartels were automating risk and timing like corporate analysts. Corruption concerns surfaced. 2 port contractors face federal investigation for falsifying customs entries and accepting bribes that officials estimate at $20,000 per container. DHS is auditing dozens of similar contracts nationwide. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said the operation proved federal unity can dismantle deep criminal networks. Residents saw armored trucks and helicopters, then watched as evidence moved out in the dawn light. Social media is filled with raw footage of the raids and neighbors wondering how the network hid in plain sight. 17 federal and local agencies joined the operation, including ICE, DEA, FBI, CBP, ATF, and Seattle Police. Officials estimate the seizures prevented nearly 190 million lethal doses of fentanyl from hitting the streets. The public health impact is real. Still, intelligence units warn cartels adapt. Remnants of the Seattle network appear to be shifting activity toward Oregon and Northern California. Rebuilding a logistics spine takes time, but criminal groups will try. The seizure removed infrastructure, froze capital, and crippled encrypted channels, yet the threat persists. As rain softened the waterfront, agents stood among pallets, evidence bags, and stacks of cash. Dawn crept up over the skyline. One veteran investigator said quietly, "They will rebuild, but we will be ready." The line between order and chaos held for now. Federal prosecutors vowed a relentless follow-up. Grand juries will convene, evidence will be parsed, and international legal requests are active. Forensic accountants began tracing crypto flows to exchanges abroad, and banks tied to shell companies face compliance probes. Congress pushed for funding for port inspection tech, subterranean sensors, and cyber task forces. Lawmakers drafted a bill to expand interdiction tools and support cross-border cooperation. Community leaders demanded public health action. Hospitals distributed naloxone, outreach teams expanded addiction services, and schools received warning notices.
Is late reporting tonight after that horrific ambush of American families in Mexico. 3 mothers and 6 of their children were all...
Victim advocates opened hotlines for families linked to missing persons found in the raids. Local clinics prepared for overdose surges while social services sought emergency money. Analysts warned the break would be temporary. Cartels adapt fast, rerouting shipments or shifting to smaller channels. Disrupting a node does not end the trade. Still, the operation removed critical infrastructure, froze capital, and exposed a digital backbone. For weeks, supply fell. Agents will trace funds, servers, and safe houses as the case tests prosecution and prevention. If you want to see how these operations unfold, how enforcement fights organized crime, stay informed. Subscribe, like, and comment. Your attention keeps the story alive and holds power to account.